because we already know that the bread and circus has already failed, right? That you can't the population can only be distracted for so long before the emotional feelings, those built up feelings, those um your true emotional intention, your true thought process, what you truly think and feel about people will come out, right? And it could be violent at times, right? It could be violent that, just because, you know you feel a certain way about a person, right? And you honestly feel that way, right? You're not faking it, right? And if you're not real with yourself, right? Because there's a lot of fake people walking around, and they're like they're saying they're real and all that. But when it comes to what you emotionally feel and acting on it, and violent random attacks, so called, the reason they happen is because there's tension, there's unaddressed issues, there's hard feelings that a person has, there's unaddressed issues that a person feels. They've been wronged by someone, and they need they you know they feel like they need to get even, right? Maybe there is the person has resentment, they have some kind of hatred, and it's an honest opinion that they feel that this is the right thing to do, right? And the person, they they no, they truly feel that, like, it's not that they have negativity, but they feel like they have a chip on their shoulder, and that's how they feel. They're not gonna bottle those emotions. They truly, like, I mean, obviously, like, it's like you ask the indigenous people, if you went into someone's house and you told them how to live their life, and you broke into their house and you start telling them how to live their life, you probably wouldn't feel too well either, right? So obviously, like, we know that, like, they're upset, and with every new technology and any new everything else, because we're all told this to integrate to the next technology, the next thing. Even as an average person, right? Even if you be a white person, like Asian, like me, you're just told, like, oh yeah, the technology comes out, you need to integrate, and that's it, right? I never wanted the cell phones or, like, the computer, um, Google Classroom and whatever. I always used the computer just to play computer games, right? I never, excuse me, I never used it for anything else. Who developed these computer games and how genius they were to have such a thing is kind of beyond me, right? Like, my dreams, they have a, like I had this dream, like I was getting watched by someone or something, 24/7 surveillance. I mean, if because these laws are written a certain way and they're very draconian, so it's impossible to practically do anything. It's really, it seems as though human beings, they just shouldn't exist. That's what the laws basically are telling you, that, like, everything you do, you can do these certain things, but everything you do, if you actually, like, sum it down, is that basically it's not going to be the proper way, and the rest is that you shouldn't exist. And that, obviously, there's, like, the ones that are, like, kind of, we can agree on that those are laws that were put in place because basic morals and human decency and whatever. But the draconian laws, the ones that, just saying something, or looking at someone, or even tapping their shoulder, is a crime, right? So I heard a big pop. I don't know what the fuck that was. I'm gonna probably head home. But, like, built up emotions, unaddressed societal issues and chaos, um, you know, uh, unaddressed societal issues and chaos. Those aren't fireworks, so probably gonna head home. That's fucked, bro. It's pretty fucked. No, cause, like, what are you gonna do with the so-called what are you gonna do with the so-called remnants of a nation, right? That's what Canada is gonna be, a remnant of an old empire that used to span from sea to sea, now, most of the population was always in crisis. I already said my parents took advantage of a crisis. Homelessness, drug addiction, conflicts, whatever, right? There's only an advantage to take there's only a crisis to take advantage of, to exploit. Because in all honesty, that's what the purpose of the world was. It's just to exploit crises, and again, I want to establish it. Like, there's people who seem to want to try to use me against myself. I'm from Kazakhstan, so I'm not from Russia. I'm not from Europe. I'm not European. I'm from Kazakhstan. My uncle is from Peru, so this is just a basic establishment on a basic level, right? This is a basic level establishment, so that I say that because some people are confused, oh yeah, where are you from? I'm just establishing it that I'm from Kazakhstan. So I have proof with the DNA that it's Eurasian. So I just take it for what it is, right? I know there's a certain group of people who everyone's blaming, right? I can advocate for them. I know the year is very serious nowadays, and on a humanitarian crisis level per se, because negative 35 in homeless people is a combination that I know that sucks, right? And trying to get the degree, it's really means nothing, because I know I know and I don't know. To some extent, I don't know if my parents are dehumanized. If one person had to dehumanize them, and then that one interaction destroys your life, destroys you for life, circumstantially, what's it called? I know I have to spend my time, somehow for the next whatever years, if that's the case, if that's the problem. But that's not the problem, right? Because on an emotional level, I know it's far deeper than that, right? I know there's bitter feelings from people. Like I said, bitter feelings that can manifest into a random attack, right? And I live for myself, right? I live for myself. I have a task, and fate is fate, right? People can make up a fate, people can do whatever, but I just live for myself. People can make fun of me and whatever, but in all honesty, because everyone's going to be asking, they're going to be blaming one person, and then, it's my mom, and, I'm not having it, right? I'm not really having that shit. And I get it, it's not natural, right? Natural, unnatural movements, the initial task, the initial first time I left the couch, and there's nothing really that really favors our reality, right? It seems like because we pay these high mortgages, it's costly to even have such a reality exist the way it does, multi-ethnically, right? And it was clear before that people they we obviously were always divided, right? And if you didn't know that, then I'm telling you right now. But people are at what level, and so I think I've addressed everything from extreme societies to from extreme society to what's it called? It was sacrificing intellectual and moral capacities, so that because if you're the one who's draining all the resource, everyone's gonna come after you.